Hello, it's another week and it's another midweek message. This week, I want to talk about the power of love. Now, love can be meaning so many different things, but I actually want to talk about it in the context of a universal value that everyone understands, and that's kindness, that's treating each other with kindness, that's caring about another human being, that's doing something for someone else, that choice that we choose to do good versus bad when it comes to another human being. Now, this journey that I want to take you down this path, I need you to just listen to the story. And if you're just listening to this, please look at the screen now, because I want you to see the images that I'm about to put up here, because it's important to understand my brain and where it got to in all this and this rabbit trail of thoughts that took me to this place. So without further ado, I would like to start this out by saying that I am thankful for the church that I'm a part of. LLMC is this beautiful, wonderful place where people get together and they love on each other. They love God and they love people, and it's a brilliant thing. As I was reminiscing on the church and just thinking about how I love being part of the greater church and the bigger church, it took me to start flipping through pictures over the past couple years, and I found this picture. Now, this picture is actually in Disney World, and it's not at Epcot Center. It's actually never going to be able to be seen again, because this picture is a representation of all the nations that Young Life Ministry is in throughout the whole world. Now, I started to stew on this, and I started to think about this image, and I was starting to reminisce about my All Staff Week, where I got together with missions workers from around the world that were loving on youth. And I started to realize all these different languages, and my brain started to process these thoughts around how massive the world is and how there's all these different languages. And then it took me to Genesis 11:1, and I feel like God was saying to me, listen, Scott, I want you to remember that at one time everybody spoke the same words. Now, I'm not going to give you a teaching on the Tower of Babel. Feel free to read Genesis 11. You'll see some great stuff. Drop me some lines if you want. But really, what I gathered is that the whole earth had one language and the same words. I know that you might think about language sometimes, and maybe we take it for granted. I know I do. I take for granted that most people around me speak English, right? I've been in some foreign countries. I've been in some spaces where the language isn't the same. But at the end of the day, I really take for granted that I speak the same language that most people around me do. Now, there is something, though, that in every country I've been in every part of the world I've been in, there's been this universal concept of love. Now, I want to go back and preface this by saying this week that I had when I was at All Staff was amazing. It was life-changing. There were so many things that happened that my world got so messy so fast. But I need to explain to you that this all happened right before the pandemic and the lockdown occurred. This all happened like before my journey into the pastorate here at LLMC. This all happened at this space and this time in my life that was just so crucial. Taking a break, being with others that were loving on students, and this whole concept of love. Now, with this, there was a couple key things that happened this week, and all of this has to do with love, and trust me, I'm going to get there. Now, the first thing that you need to understand is during the pandemic, one of the major influences in music for me, and that got me through a lot, especially when I was here, was Drew Holcomb. Here's a shot of Drew Holcomb and his wife, Ellie, as well as Jimmy Swim and his wife. Their music has been huge for me over the past year and a half. They actually gave me rights to be able to use their music on one of the streams for LLMC. Family is what he sings. He's got kitchen covers. I can't talk enough about this guy and his wife and Jimmy and his wife, and just how their music is so positive and so uplifting. I could go on, but this week that was about love and loving kids for Jesus, there was this moment, right? They came out in the audience. There they were. I didn't know who this guy was. And all of a sudden, boom, his music just spoke to me. It was riveting. Now, you might go, okay, what's this have to do with love? Just stick with me here, because here's what's crazy is while we were at Disney World, okay, I got to take some time for self-care, take some time for myself, and I got to hang out with that guy there. Okay, Darth Vader, huge dude, amazing, and running the whole empire, and he took a little time out of his schedule to hang out with me. On top of that, I also got to see another gentleman named Chewbacca. Him and I hung out too. And see, this self-care time that I was taking, what I was actually doing is I took a night to myself, and I got a VIP pass to Star Wars. I love Star Wars. But there was something that was happening, and that in this process, there were people that were just so cool. Like the stormtroopers, they were awesome. They were keeping order at the party I was at. And I was at this VIP space that was just there for Star Wars nerds. Now, you might be like, Scott, why are you telling me all this? Well, I just need to get you settings, okay? Because I'm in this setting with Young Life, but here I am taking a break for myself, and I'm loving on myself, right? So now we've already talked about the love that I got out of just being in that nations gathering. We started to see this love concept going on with just the music. Love keeps permeating. Now, with all this fun and all these personal times, I need to express to you, though, that as we talk about love, something that's very important to understand is that love unites us and puts us together with people. This guy here, his name is Elias. Now, Elias and I work together in Young Life, and Elias is significantly younger than me, and his life is significantly different than mine. He comes from a very different background, but what's crazy is he actually grew up in the same town that my great uncle lives in and aunt, and I just love Milford, Pennsylvania, and it's a place that is near and dear to my heart, where there's a lot of love that goes on in that space. When I am outdoors, I feel closer to God on their lake. It's one of my happy places, and Elias is from that area. Now, Elias and I started to form this relationship and got close to each other. But one of the things that Elias was able to do at this all-staff retreat that really got me excited was he would reach out and sit, and he would get me, because I really didn't know anybody, he would get me to sit at these tables with complete strangers. And we started spending all of our meals with all these new Young Life people. But all of us had this common bond, and that was the love of Christ and loving on other students. It didn't matter where anybody was from. We automatically had this relationship because we were loving on other people. Now, I say all this because then Elias and I had this really cool moment. And what we did is we hopped into this airship right here, okay? And we got into this airship and we went up really high. Now, in this airship, we actually went up with some other people that were not from the area. They actually spoke a different language. But what was fun was we were able to communicate with them. We figured out some English words. Elias knew some Spanish, and we were talking with them, but we were having and sharing this moment because of everybody's love of Disney and being in downtown Disney. We got to share this moment where we were able to look over this gorgeous view and see this expanse. Now, I've used love in a lot of different phrases here. I use love in so many different ways, but one of the key things I need you to understand is that love is our common language today. See, I believe that even though we can't all speak the same words, I believe that we all have the power and the ability to love. Love extends past anybody's culture. Love extends past anybody's personal space. It extends into their heritage. Love is something that we all understand. And I think that when we look at Genesis 11:1, even though we have different languages now, and at one point they were the same, I believe we still have a universal language of love. And Christ demonstrated that while he lived on this earth, while he engaged with us on the cross, while he shed his blood and rose again. I mean, there's so many aspects of love that we see out of Christ, how he was doing miracles, how he was healing, how he was engaging the disciples, giving them a whole new meaning to life. And then I look at myself, I look at the reality of everything around me, and without love, I would be nothing. Right? That's what Paul said. Resounding gong. Right? That just goes off and there's nothing there. So I wonder if we need to start practicing more love. More love across the table. Does someone have a differing view than you? Start loving on them. Does that person that lives next door to you drive you crazy? Love on them. Maybe it's that coworker that you just can't stand the way they crinkle their paper or chew on their pen. Not that I was ever that guy, but love on them. I know it sounds dumb and it sounds silly and so cliche, but I guarantee you, if love is so universal that it transcends words. And this imagery of the nations, of the world, this concept of love is universal throughout mankind. And we can't ignore that. There's a lot of stuff going on in the world today. I know right now there were 13 that died, soldiers. There's more caught over in Afghanistan. That newsreel item alone is enough to make you ache and wish there was more love in that space. I spend a lot of time with a lot of people, but the one thing I know works every time, and that's love. So as you go about your week, as you're wondering how to cross barriers, as you're wondering how to get through it and to have less strife and less friction with people, start loving a little bit more people. Just love a little bit more. And I guarantee you that as you start loving more people and start extending that love to others, you will feel that love back, and you will start to see why God said, love me, God, with all your heart, soul, and mind, and love your neighbor as you love yourself. And the key piece here too is loving on yourself. And I share that with you because as I was going out and doing these fun things and learning these things, I started to understand how to love myself better. And when I love myself better, then I can love others better. So hey, I hope you have a great week, and go love on some people around you. And take some time to drop a line here at sroth@llmc.org. Feel free to just shoot some emails about your thoughts on love. Drop some stuff in the comments, like this, share it. If you think more people need the love, share this with your friends. Let them know. Let them hear the word. Anyway, I hope you have a great week, and it's been great to see you all again. And I beg you, go out and love someone and have a blessed time.